So, for those who aren't involved in the football world, Alex Smith is a former Scottish player and coach who has been described as the nearest thing the Scottish game has to a father figure. Alex is an extremely successful coach with a very, very long list of achievements, but just a few are. He's had nearly 5 decades as a manager, including winning the Scottish Cup in 1987 with St Mirren and in 1990 with Aberdeen, where he also won the Scottish League Cup in 1989. Alex, are you there?
I'm here, James, yes.
It's nice to hear you in it and all of it finally working.
Yeah, at last. I thought I was broken down again with the introduction to the music.
That's all good. So, just introduce yourself. In your opinion, what achievements or memories stand out as both a player and a managerial career? But first, just introduce yourself for our listeners.
Yeah, well, I'm Alex Smith. I'm from Scotland. I've worked all my life in Scotland in the football world. First of all, as a player, and then as a coach and first team manager, and then as the technical director within a club. So I've been pretty active over these years, from 1969 until 2018, and I'm now mentor at Springfield United, and I've been doing that for about 5 years now. So.
Yeah, and you actually recently got promotion there as well.
Yes, we managed to get promotion last week there.
Yeah.
And quite a tough league, so we're looking forward to the season next year.
Yeah, very exciting.
We're a very ambitious club, actually.
Yeah. So if you want to just talk to us about your drive to become a manager.
Well, it was made to happen because of an injury to me that I got in 1964. It was a knee injury, which was very tough indeed. It put me out of the game for about 2 years, back and forward, trying to get back playing again and breaking down all the time. And eventually, 2 or 3 years later, I just had to give up playing altogether. And luckily enough, I had an interest in the coaching side of the game, and I took that up, and that was it. That was in 19 I'm getting mixed up with the years now. 1969, actually.
Yeah, and I know from previous times that I've spoken to you and I've quizzed you about this actually. I know when you were doing your courses to become a manager with UEFA, you actually had some very current coaches in your classes. Who were they? Oh yeah,
there was people like David Moyes who came on the course when he was 24. There was people like Terry Butcher, Alan Shearer. There were big names like that. The one that I can't remember.
Mourinho, wasn't it?
Mourinho was one. Yeah, he came and done his. We got quite a lot of coaches over from Portugal, and he was one of them. And the reputation was built up by a group of coaches, but by 2 people. One called Andy Roxburgh, who was the director of the coaching, and Craig Brown, who was assistant director, and Andy done it for 10 years or so, and then he became the Scotland manager, and Craig then became the director of the coaching, and his assistant was Frank Coulson at that time. They were all very good coaches, and they built up. The coaching courses had been going, and prior to that happening, a couple of years before that, people like Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson went through his course, Jim McLean went through his, and many other big names. So it built up a reputation that was very good in European terms. It was very well recognised by UEFA. And these men, Andy went on to become the technical director for UEFA. And Craig Brown went on to become Scottish team manager for 11 years or something like that, including being assistant. So it was a very successful time, and it still is. It's still a very good coaching course for young people to take on, and we do encourage them at an early age. When I say an early age, mid-20s maybe.
Yeah.
Or earlier if they feel like it, to go and sit the coaches, because they do help them as players as well. But it
also gives them something outside of just being a player as well.
Yes,
makes them just develop their skills in football with the knowledge that they've already got. So that's very good.
Right.
And
and gives them a new confidence as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alex, this is Ruben here. Just continuing on from what you were talking about there with the coaches, do you have any tips for, say, local coaches or just any football coaches, whether they're just doing it for fun or trying to go pro? Do you have any tips for those coaches?
Yes, I do, Ruben. I think it's important that you love the game. I think that's the first thing, that you have a commitment to the game, and when you decide to do it, that you dedicate yourself to the task of becoming a very good coach, And one of the big tips I always give the young coaches when they come is just to listen and look. But listen is the most important thing. If you don't listen to other people explaining things to them and trying to make things easier for them and give them more education, then they stand still and they go in their own way, and that doesn't take them too far, Yep. So you really need to take the help that's there and give it to you in the best possible way and turn it into your benefit over the years. It's excellent. And when you do get to that stage when you become a coach, of course, you've got to be a good people's person, and you have to realise that the most important person that you're doing that for is for the student, for the player, and to develop a good name within it leaves a very, very, very satisfying experience, actually.
Coming from Scotland, Alex, and that quality of coaching, coming from there to Australia, do you notice, is there any massive differences?
No. The Australian coaches that I've met and worked with have been very good. They're very learned and they're very capable of putting over coaching courses to help players, and they have a good attitude to the game, and I think that's very important. Whether the input gets through or is maybe more difficult because of the travelling and different things you have to encounter. That may be the case. It may be a wee bit more awkward to get to coaching courses, more distance to travel, and that kind of thing. So
yeah, righto. So James and I were talking about this earlier. In your opinion, who do you think is more important to the success of a team? Do you think it's the coach or do you think it's the players?
Always the players. It's always got to be the players to start with. They form the team ethic. They have to apply themselves to try and win the game, which it's never easy to win a game at football. But they have to have a certain ability to be there in the first place, and they have to have the attitude of team spirit and teamwork in order to get the end product that would get you a win in any game of football. But the coach is extremely important. If he's a guy that is well respected with the players, that makes it much easier and much better. And that's up to the coach himself as to the style of the person he is, the knowledge he has got that he can pass on, and that to take great satisfaction of the success from the individual players, and then the collective players when they're winning games. So it all adds up. But the most important thing, if you don't have the quality of player to match the level of football you're playing in, then you're not going to win many games. Supposing you've got the best coach in the world, it's all about the ability of the players on the field and the coach getting the best out of that ability.
Yeah, with it coming to coaching talented but a tad difficult players, how do you what's the best avenue of going around to coach a difficult player, someone that's not listening, has a bit of an ego, is bad discipline?
Oh, Ruben, that can be a challenge sometimes, but it's a challenge to you as well for your temperament and your ability to manage is very, very important. Now, you can't manage everybody the same way. You have to, although it's a team game, you have to manage them individually, first of all, and then collectively after that. You really have to get into their heads, get to know what makes them tick, and then operate from there, because they'll show you their skills when they're in practice. You'll see what level they're at, and you can decide what to help them on, whether it be just a situation that they'll find it difficult to perform a certain thing, and that is very hard. If you try to get somebody to do something that's new to them, there's not many things like that in football. It's always about being able to have the necessary skill in the application of them on the day.
Yeah, player managing is important throughout the whole sport. Who would you say in your managing career, who has been most rewarding to coach?
Oh,
it's a very tough question, so I can understand if... Okay, better question. Which team has been most rewarding to coach?
Well, that's the same. It's very difficult. I mean, my first team was a team near the bottom of the bottom league, and they were lacking in confidence, but they were an old club and they were a very, very well-liked club. The players had certain habits, and they weren't good ones, and not in a bad way, but just in a footballing way. And you had to recognise that and coach them to the ability that they had at that particular time, and then improve it gradually and build your team brick by brick, and don't rush it, and then you get there.
Yeah.
So that was a team called Stennismuir. And my next club I played for was Stirling Albion, which was my local team, and I worked there for 12 and a half years and won a championship there, kept them in the higher league for a few seasons, and then we had to go back to the basics again. We went down a league and then came back up again, and I worked there, and I enjoyed that immensely. That was because I had played there, I'd won a league championship there as a player, and to manage the club and coach the club that you were a player with was a great honour, and done me a lot of pride, you know. So I enjoyed my time there. I had some great players like Robert Duffin and Jim Clark and Mark McPhee, who played 600 games for the club, and they were part-time professionals. They had jobs too.
Oh yeah.
So that was a big commitment they had to make. They trained three nights a week plus their jobs. So it was hard work.
Yeah.
But we had to make it as enjoyable as we could, and that came down to the coaching team and the players themselves enjoying what they're doing, and that is very important, that you keep a happy club if it's possible. you can't keep a happy club if you're losing games, of course. But you've got to get rid of that, and winning games becomes the main thing, and building a team that can play attractive football is next, and so on. So
Yeah, very nice.
I enjoyed my times there. Then I went into the bigger leagues, and I've obviously enjoyed it at St Mirren when we went there. And we won the cup, and we had some good young players there. We had a good side there actually, and we had some good young players. We had one boy, Paul Lambert, who was just touching the first team when my assistant Jimmy Bone and I went there, and we won the cup within 5 months of us going. And he went on to play for Borussia Dortmund and won a European Cup medal. So that was a massive thing for Paul. It was a massive thing for St Mirren, and it was a massive thing for me as a coach and Jimmy as my assistant, that we get the satisfaction that one of the young players went on to win a gold medal at that level, which is fantastic for everybody.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience.
Yeah, that was a great experience. And other ones who were in the team done well as well internationally, and we had some very good experienced players there. So that was a nice period. It was. I also worked for Aberdeen, who were a big European club and Scottish club, and had a great time there as well. So
yes,
I've enjoyed all my clubs I worked for, and I've enjoyed doing the job.
Yeah, it was a very hard question.
That's the key, though. That's what you said. It's all about enjoying it, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Ruben.
That's it. Thank you so much, Alex.
Nice talking to you. Nice talking to you.